Welcome back to the Orthodox Trucker Podcast. Today's episode is dedicated to a dear friend of mine, my former CDL trainer. This episode is personal, it's heavy, it's not one that I planned, but it's one that needed to be made. Because today, we're talking about death. Not in the abstract, not in a poetic, sugar-coated kind of way. I'm talking about death as a truck driver. Death as a man trying to live right. Death as something real, something looming, something inevitable, and yet somehow, something holy. When I first started driving CDL back in 2013, I got paired with a surly old cowboy. Half trucker, half soldier, full-blooded man. His name was JD. He was gruff, sometimes impatient, and brutally honest in the best way possible. JD was a former Air Force Special Forces guy who served in Germany during the Cold War. He was stationed at Ramstein Air Force Base in the early 80s, and if you've ever heard of the 1981 Flugtag protest, let me break that down. That day, a group of anti-nuclear activists infiltrated the airfield during an open house event. They carried small coolers onto the tarmac, poured bags of fake blood on themselves, laid down in front of military aircraft, and unrolled banners to make their stand. JD was there. Boots on the concrete, eyes scanning the chaos. He didn't talk about it to boast. He just mentioned it like you'd mention the weather. It was one more memory, tucked into the layers of a life full of silent burdens. JD, however, wasn't just a soldier. Like I said, he was my trainer. And more than that, he became a mentor and a friend. He taught me how to drive commercial trucks. How to really drive. He taught me in the way that the old school truckers were taught. He taught me how to pay attention to sounds and smells, how to listen to the engine, how to handle stress without losing my mind. He told me stories, wild ones from the Union Wars, from backwoods rest stops, from decades on the road. And he's the man who introduced me to beekeeping. That might sound random, but it wasn't. JD was all about self-reliance and putting your hands in the dirt, building something real with your own effort. That stuck with me. It still does. He also carried quiet grief. His first wife had been murdered, something he never dove into, but the pain was there. You could see it in how gentle he became when he talked about love, loss, and about how short life really is. A few years back, he collapsed outside his truck. Blood clot. He barely survived. That was his wake-up call. He left the cab, he moved into operations, started slowing down. But the damage was already done. His body started to fail. Parkinson's crept in like a thief. And earlier this year, he passed away. That news shook me, not just because he was my friend, but because statistically, his story isn't rare. According to the data, the average life expectancy of a long-haul truck driver is 61. That's 16 to 17 years less than the national average. If that holds true, I've got 21 years left. 21. And I just turned 40. Let that sink in. You bust your ass on the road. You give up your body, your time, your holidays, your family, and in return, you lose years. You trade your health for a paycheck. You trade presence for productivity. And some guys, Lord have mercy, they die in their sleeper berth, parked behind a Flying J, unnoticed for days, until the smell tips someone off. This job eats people, not just with accidents, but with silence, with solitude, with slow decline. It doesn't have to be that way. But let's not lie to ourselves. It often is. And that's where faith comes in. In the Orthodox Church, we don't talk about death the same way the world does. We say someone has fallen asleep because Christ trampled down death by death, because the grave is not the end, because this life isn't the finish line, it's the proving ground. Here's one of the most powerful sayings in the church. It's one that I love. If you die before you die, then when you die, you won't die. So what does that mean? It means if you kill the ego now, if you crucify your pride now, if you lay your selfishness down in the tomb now, then when your time comes, it won't be a terror. It'll be a transformation. This life isn't about escaping death. It's about confronting it and being transfigured by it. As truck drivers, we spend our lives running, always moving. Heck, today alone, we did 650 miles across 3 different states. But some things catch up, and when you do, you realize it's not how far you drove, it's not how many miles you logged, it's how many people you loved, how many burdens you shared, how many bees you taught someone else to keep. My friend JD lived that. He gave more than he took, and in the end, his fruit, his legacy, is in his family, his friends, his students, people like me, and now, in people I've trained. He was my trainer, and now I'm training. It's a ripple effect moving outwards. So, yeah, this episode is for JD, my first trainer, a brother in arms, a man who lived hard, fought harder, and died with his boots metaphorically on. I miss you, old man. I hope you're up there behind the wheel of some big celestial freightliner, rolling through endless sunrise with coffee in hand and no scales open for 1,000 miles. I'll keep training, I'll keep driving, I'll keep building this little corner of the world, and I'll keep remembering that in Christ, death is not the end. Not for you, not for me, not for any of this. Memory eternity. And may we all take death seriously enough to truly start living. If you'd like more Orthodox Trucker content, visit the blog at orthodoxtrucker.com or visit Spotify and YouTube at the Orthodox Trucker Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for following along, and I'll see you next time.